Hey everyone, and welcome back to some more esports talk. And as usual, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of drama that popped up this last week in the Rainbow Six community when a screenshot was leaked of a conversation between some of the players. This screenshot was leaked by a FaZe team manager, and it shows a question being asked of, are we good with all of the female pro league players being added? To which everyone in the screenshot said they were against. The team manager goes on to say that these players talk about encouraging the female scene in public, but then behind the scenes deny them from their participation. And so of course, as soon as this came out, people were very pissed about it. This is in the Latin American FPL scene, and this seemed to be Brazilian players voting against females being included in the FPL league at all. I mean, without context or anything, it just seems blatantly sexist. We saw people calling the situation really disappointing, saying that these were pros voting on if women should be allowed in the FPL and wondering why there was a vote to begin with. People straight up saying that they must be embarrassed to be beaten by girls, calling it effing embarrassing, and saying that these players were prime examples of people who pretend to be something in public, but then they say something different in private. But I'll be honest, when this came out, I had a feeling that there was going to be something more. There was a little bit more context to this that we were missing, because it just felt weird that this screenshot seemed to set them up so well for disaster. The context that ended up coming out was that the question was more so asking if all the players in the female circuit should automatically be added into the FPL. And the players said no, that they shouldn't all be added at once. More or less, the pros didn't want them to instantly qualify. They wanted them to have to go through the so-called normal route. Intero came forward and gave a little bit more context to the entire situation that I think is important to look into, but there was one tweet in the thread specifically that I think we should look at. He says that it's elitism and gatekeeping, not necessarily sexism. NA and EU players have done this many times before. NA, in particular, had a heated debate over whether the Canadian Division and Canadian Challenger League should be invited to NA FPL. So at the end of the day there, it wasn't sexism, it was elitism. The players more or less wanted the female circuit players to also go through the normal route, kind of how they did to begin with. And I mean, it's still sucky, right? Like, it's still not a good thing. But if I had to choose between the players gatekeeping or the players being sexist, like I'm gonna choose gatekeeping every day of the week, right? Like, they both suck, but I would much rather them just be elitist and gatekeeping than sexist. Then we see that none of that even mattered to begin with. FaceIt decided on their own that they would be adding the women's circuit to the FPL. They made the final decision, not the players. And to me, I mean, the whole thing just felt weird, right? I mean, like, why was that screenshot shared to begin with? And it was a screenshot that looked very condemning to these players, that they were obviously not wanting the females in the league at all. Like, it looked very sexist. And so why was that shared by the team manager to begin with? He posted kind of an apology, but not really, saying that he still thinks his point is valid, but that he supposedly didn't mean to create such an issue. Regardless, to me, I think, and I know some people might disagree with this, but it seems like cancel culture just needs to chill out a little bit, because so many people immediately hopped on this as soon as this screenshot was out there, which you can't really blame them, like I said, because it did set up these players perfectly to look like they were being sexist. But I think it's important to wait for context of these situations to come out to begin with, because like we said, it ended up just being them being, you know, jerks about it and being elitist and gatekeeping and wanting them to go through the normal route. But then at the end of the day, they didn't even make the decision. It didn't even matter what they thought, because FaceIt made the final decision in the end. Now, let me know what you guys think. I know I have my thoughts on there that I shared, so let me know what you think in the comments. Like, did people overreact to this, or do you think that it was a proper reaction? How do you feel about the whole situation? Until next time, guys, be safe, be smart, behave, and I'll catch you later.